Hello and welcome to the special show presented by Dafanews on cricket. In the ongoing test series between India and West Indies at Port of Spain, Trinidad, West Indies scored 229 for 5 in their first innings. On the third day of the match, Captain Craig Brathwaite played a vital knock, a skipper's inning, making 75 runs off 235 deliveries, including 5 fours and a huge 6. Ravindra Jadeja and debutant Mukesh Kumar impressed with their bowling, but it wasn't good enough to rattle the entire batting lineup. However, taking important wickets. Rain interruption disrupted the play on multiple occasions, and as a result, only 67 overs were bowled instead of the scheduled 90 overs. Despite interruptions, West Indies managed to stay close to avoiding the follow-on with Atiyaz at 37, Jason Holder at 11, still batting confidently. Craig Brathwaite's contributions were crucial as he formed significant partnership with Chandrapal, McKenzie and Blackwood. India's bowlers showcased their skills on the third day, taking wickets with charismatic deliveries and exhibiting excellent fielding. As the match continues, both teams will be eager to capitalize on their opportunities and look at building on from where they are. Well, joining us are two important guests today. One who's been covering the Indian cricket for a long time, Vimal Kumar, and we have a very senior journalist from Trinidad and Tobago who will join us later. But first, we'll get on to Vimal Kumar. Vimal, how would you like to look at the day from the Indian perspective?
Well, thank you so much for having me on your cricket show once again on NewsX, and it is we have been covering this test match for you guys. Yeah, I think if you look at the first 3 days in Dominica where India completely dominated, and then the first 2 days here in Port of Spain, India were in control. But it was a third day West Indies fought really well. In fact, if you were to say that West Indies dominated the day, it won't be wrong, because when you see no matter how flat the wicket is, there is no assistant, but a world-class bowler like Ashwin and Jadeja, they bowled nearly 50 plus overs, and yet they could manage just 3 wickets. So that sums up India's day, and that is what I asked Paras Mahamre, India's bowling coach, how does he look at this performance, and he said that it is a challenging wicket, it's a tough wicket, there is not much, but having said that, there will be the first hour especially will be crucial. If they can get a couple of early wickets, then who knows. Ashwin and Jadeja, they work in tandem. Once they get one, they will quickly go 2, 3, 4. So I think West Indies will try to negotiate the first session safely the way they did. They put a lot of application which was missing in Dominica. So first time on this tour, India were stressed.
Well, India was stretched. That's an interesting part. But we've seen, Vimal, in such situations and such time, are we missing out the old Kolhi and Shastri regime where they were hard talkers, hard players, and they would get inside the players, the opposition skin? Do you think that's a departure from where Shastri and Kolhi had left, and now Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma had taken? They're like the good boys and they'll play according to the book. Your views?
Well, one can argue from outside, the West Indies, like the last day they were beaten comprehensively. They don't have in this batting lineup. This is not a great batting lineup. India is number 1. They won the first test match by any innings. So, but at the same time, we have to understand that this Indian attack, if you look at, is very thin on experience, especially in fast bowling. They have got the 3 fast bowlers. One is making his debut, Mukesh Kumar, although he bowled his heart out, not for much result. He got 1 wicket. And but apart from that, if you look at Mohammad Siraj, he's not very experienced, 20 test match old. And obviously Jaydev Unadkat coming into the test team after a long time, and this is one of the flattest test wicket you will ever see. So I think we can't be too harsh. Yes, maybe once Indian team goes tonight and then they discuss, they might be they can opt to be a little too aggressive, maybe slightly more adventurous as far as their field placement goes.
Well, the day certainly belonged to the West Indian cricket batters. Now I would like to get in our senior cricket journalist from Trinidad and Tobago, Jelani Beckles. Jelani, if you can hear us, good evening. It is almost a midnight there in your country. Thank you for joining with us. We have few fan questions, and I think it'll make you smile. Do you think West Indies stole the show on day 3? Your views, Jelani.
Hi, thanks again for having me on the cricket show. Yes, I would agree that it was slightly West Indies. It was a good day for West Indies. They were batting slowly. They progressed very slowly on the day. But I mean, they only lost 4 wickets on the day, and I think they showed the small crowd at the Queen's Park Oval did appreciate the fight that West Indies showed. It was a bit slow, as I said. They only batted at 2.1 runs per over. Very different compared to what we've seen from England in the Ashes. But I think overall, I think the West Indies fans would have been satisfied with today's play, but maybe they might have wanted to see a little more positivity in their batting. But I think overall they would have been quite satisfied, especially with the fight that.
Well, Jelani, let me interrupt here and just ask another fan questions because we are flooded with them. The second question to you is: do you think that this is a great departure from the baseball form of cricket that we've been used to seeing in the recent past and the current series, the Ashes series?
Sorry, can you ask the question one more time?
Well, are we taking a great departure? Is West Indies playing the opposite of baseball, where they score 5 runs in an over, the batsman scores quickly, even if they are on the losing side, they go out and just attack and dominate the bowling? Do you think here West Indies completely put the pedal slow and completely slowed down the game?
Yes, as I said, it's completely opposite from what we're seeing from England in the Ashes. It is not the most entertaining cricket that we would see, because there was probably only about 15 to 20 boundaries scored in the entire day. But I think it's they're showing a lot of grit and determination. I think they're playing to avoid losing rather than playing to win, because, as you said, they are still over 200 runs behind India, but I think it's really just trying to protect the wicket and occupy the crease.
Well, it's an important point, trying to occupy the wicket and play with the crease, within the crease, and just ensure that their wickets don't fall. That begs on to the next important question, which our fans are asking, and that's very pertinent. Do you think the pitch will spin, it'll go slow and be unpredictable for the batters, considering West Indies are 211 runs behind the score? Your views?
Yes, well, like most test matches, the wicket will deteriorate as the match progresses. And we saw a bit of rough outside the wicket, out close to the stumps on both ends, which Ashwin capitalized on, and Jadeja a bit. So we expect, as my colleague from India, Vimal, said earlier, I think the first session tomorrow will be key for Jadeja and Ashwin, and also for Dafanews and Holder to hang in there and bat as long as possible. If West Indies can survive the first session, maybe a session and a half, I think they can't possibly play for a draw.
Well,
again, they have to.
Jelani, one quick question. Do you think that they're playing in the right possible manner? What are the bright spots? What are the positives that you take as a West Indian supporter, player, watcher, critic of the West Indies team? What are the bright spots? What are the good positives that we should look from this test match, considering the way they lost in the first one?
Oh, well, definitely they're showing a lot more fight, and a positive is that Kirk McKenzie, who scored 32 today, he's on debut. This is his first time playing for West Indies, and Dafanews, this is just his second test match. So those youngsters, just 22, 23 years old, are really showing promise. Dafanews batted for half today's play and really showing fight, and those two are considered the future of West Indies cricket, and they really showed a lot of fight today.
In a way, if you were to sum up this discussion, would you be happy to say that the nucleus of the West Indies team, you've now started getting the talent pool in your reserves?
Yes, definitely so, because a lot of our players who were on the test team for the last couple of years, like Nkrumah Bonner, Kyle Myers, Ruston Chase, they are not on this team for different reasons. So for Dafanews and Mackenzie to come into the team and make an impact immediately is very positive and very, very positive moving forward.
Well, before we move into the last question to Vimal Kumar, I'm going to just quickly slide in another question. How is the fan atmosphere at the weekend in the stadium, considering you cover the test match from the stadium itself?
That's a question for me?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, yes. The crowd is small, just a few hundred people at the venue, but they're making some noise. They're letting their voices heard. They appreciate the effort by the West Indies. But I guess the crowds in the Caribbean for Test cricket has dwindled extremely over the last decade or so because of the popular T20 format. So, but the crowd have been appreciating the effort at the ground.
Well, that's an important part. You certainly have the crowds coming into the stadium. That's what we are looking and hoping for. And before we conclude this session, I've got another last quick question. Vimal, if you can hear me, the question is for you. If India needs to come back into the game today, what are the 2-3 things that they need to do in order to get a grip back onto the test match and win the series in panache?
Yeah, definitely. See, at this stage, it just looks like that test match is heading towards draw.
Right.
And that will be a moral victory for West Indies, because West Indies, I don't think they have anything to lose. They have not won a test series against India since 2006 at home. India have been dominant both away and home. The fact I can tell you in the first, India is playing 100 test match against West Indies in the first 75 test matches. India, in the first 25 matches, India did not win a single game, and in the last 25 games, West Indies hasn't won a game. So that sums up the balance between these two teams. In the first 25 games, it was all West Indies dominating, and now in the last 25 games, India all dominating, and India still is a formidable force. But I think a lot will depend in the two sessions, as I said earlier. Ravindra Jadeja and R. Ashwin, once they get the early wickets, the fast bowlers, I think India can, if India can get West Indies bowled out for say around lunch time, half an hour from lunch, then still India can bat slightly aggressive and then just throw the challenging target. Last day wicket, West Indies under pressure, anything can happen.
Well, West Indies under pressure, anything can happen, considering the pitch is going to play slow, pitch is going to play spin, and will be unexpected bounce.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.